You're all number one in my hearts. Hi, nerds. I'm Taylor. It's May 17th. Cranky comic book review show. I go worst to best. So, I don't know. Watch or don't. A little bookkeeping before I get not bookkeeping. It's not a book. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The CBC Awards are now open. So go vote for your favorite creator. If I remember, I'm going to leave a link down below. CBCawards.com, .org, .net, one of those. Just go, vote for whichever YouTubers make you slightly less miserable in your life. That's all I got. All right. It's a whole massive ton of number ones this week. These are not all number ones, but there's a lot of them. So let's get into it. All right. First, or at least my least favorite, if I'm going to be nice and phrase things that way, is Arcade Kings #1. It's a creator-created book. I mean, I guess they all are, right? This is a creator, writer, and artist, Dylan Burnett. It's the art. Actually, I don't mind. Kind of reminds me of Kyle Starks when he's drawing his own stuff. It's a weird little book with a story within a story. There's a framing device of a wrestler who retired, and then there's some family drama. But then mostly it's just this kind of nonsense at an arcade where everyone's challenging this one dude who's wearing a helmet. That's about as spoilery as I want to get. There's not a ton to this. It gets stretched out. If you like these sort of, I guess it kind of reminds me of like Scott Pilgrim, and not really, not as entertaining and not fun and not as polished kind of way. It's not awful. It's just you're paying. What are you paying here? I mean, it's a square bound book, and this was hell. I don't even know how much I paid for this damn thing. I don't know, enough like that I wouldn't do it again. I don't know what the hell price is on here. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's okay. I just didn't really dig it. It's not for me. I just don't think I think Dylan needed a bit of an editor, honestly. I guess Amanda LaFranco was the editor, but I didn't care for the editing. It's fine. It's just kind of an story, and like a little bit predictable with not the details, but the framing device is kind of predictable. So I don't know. Take it for what it is. Next, this one kind of pains me to put it this low, but it also is what it is. This is the Mighty Barbarians #2. I really like issue #1. This is Michael Morici, who did Barbaric, and then Morgan. No, hang on. Art by Giuseppe Cafaro, and yeah, it doesn't. There's coloring. There's coloring. There's other stuff. There's a Blaze. It's Blaze Publishing. This is a bunch of like historic and fictional barbarians that are after some orbs. I don't remember why, honestly, from the first issue. It's a quest book. Kull is sort of the leader, who was a Marvel thing, I think, for a bit. Or is that Krull or Knull? Doesn't matter. There's also Morgan Le Fay and Nanook and Anansi, although there's a typo in here where they call him Anasi, so there's a lettering error in here, and Burka, who's kind of useless. The thing is, none of these characters are really memorable, and the dialogue, I think what Morici's trying to do is like play on the idea of the self-espousing, comic-y, we are going on this quest heretofore, hither, yon, but it doesn't really work. It just kind of comes across as pretty pompous and verbose without the necessary sarcasm that you get from his other book, Barbaric, or the necessary sense of fun and play that you get from there. It's just kind of a boring quest book, and that's just too bad, honestly. And then there's art. The art is mostly solid. The coloring is pretty dark, which I get. There's reasons. But this page is an example of one of the things that drives me nuts. I don't know if it's the writer who's like laying this all out, but I feel it's Giuseppe, the artist. This does not read how it should. Like, this looks like it goes to this, but this panel, very darkly, no. So it does not visual cues it gives. So it goes this. See if I can even do this right in reverse. Then this. Then this. Then this. And then back over this and then this. It's an S-shaped pattern. It makes no fucking sense. It drove me nuts. I spent more time on that page than I did the rest of the book. And then, I mean, it's just, I get creative panels. I get the breaking out of the grid. I get all this shit. But tell the fucking story first. And then do the rest of the shit second. And yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know, this is my biggest disappointment of the week because I really like the writer. I just don't give a fuck about this quest. It really just, like, it maybe should be the bottom of the book, but I don't know. The other one just bugged me a little more, so. But that one I'm a little more willing to forgive because I think it's a newer creator, and Morici should know better, and yeah. All right, next. This also pains me to put it this low, but this series has been a disappointment, and at this point, I'm honestly just glad it's over. This is Little Monsters number 13. It's Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. It's an ending. This is the ultimate issue. It's issue number 13, and it ends. It ends in a way that's fitting to the story. It has a purpose, but it's just pretty boring and predictable. It's just kind of reads like the rest of the series. Pretty dull, pretty drawn out, and not the strongest of Lemire's work by any means. I like Dustin Nguyen's art. It's, as always, it's dark and sketchy and sparse and easy to follow. And when they add color, it makes sense. It's just and like that part is great. And the story has the potential to be really good. Tiny little vampires left alone at the end of humanity with their creators gone, and then they find out they're not alone. That's the setup, and then it's 13 issues to get to here. Which the setup was about 7 issues. Getting to here took another 6, and the here, while it makes sense, while it is a fitting ending for everything, it's just not that fucking interesting. I'll apologize for swearing. I'm not apologizing. I swear, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I really am disappointed with this. This is probably my least favorite Lemire book I've ever read. And I mean, there's been some others that have kind of bored me a little bit, but this is bottom of the barrel for him as far as I go, or bottom ranking. It just really, really was like, okay. I'm like, I stuck with it for 13 issues. I don't know why. Don't. If you really want to look at it collected, read a little bit in the shop until they kick you out, and then decide if you want to buy the damn thing. But don't get all 13 separately. It's really not worth it. All right, next. This one I just picked up because, well, it's issue number 700, Legacy. How is it that, this is Fantastic Four number 7. How is it that Fantastic Four only has 700 Legacy where, like, Deadpool has like 1 billion, and Marvel's Legacy numbering makes no fucking sense to anybody on the planet. And it's just like they're piling all this shit together. But these guys have been around since the 60s. You'd think they'd have more. They should have more. They should also have better writing. But this issue actually isn't bad. This is Ryan North again with Abelo Coelho on the art. And I picked it up because it was 700, and it had Doom on the cover. And it's a Doom issue. It's mostly Doctor Doom. And it's like not the worst Doctor Doom story ever. It's not the best. Once you get going at it, you're like, okay, yep, that's the gimmick, and that's what it's going to be. And then the ending, again, while it fits, it's not just great. There is a nice light touch to this book that North has, and it's kind of like the familial aspects of it are fine, and I don't mind his dynamic of the Fantastic Four. I do wish there was a little more substance to it instead of just la-di-da-di-da-di-da. And like I didn't pick up every issue. I missed the big reveal issue, which is why the Fantastic Four are on the run. But you learn in this. If you don't, this is fairly self-contained. You can read this, learn what's up, and learn why everyone hates the Fantastic Four. So, I mean, at least you're only 7 issues into this run, unlike the ASM, which is like 25, 26, and they're still dealing with that garbage nonsense over there. I'm not reading that one anyways. I don't give a shit about the spoilers on that one that came out on Reddit or whatever this week. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Yeah. The art's solid. Coelho's got a nice sense of cartooniness mixed with realism. I don't love Johnny's handlebar mustache, but, whatever. I'm not a style critic in this. And, his Doom, it's got a nice sort of, reminds me of Capuccio a bit. Not bad. It's an okay issue. How much is this? Is it $6 worth? I don't know, maybe. If you love Doom, you might get more out of this than somebody else. I do like the Doom in thing. There's also a letters page in here. Oh, hey. Oh, and I guess there is a... Whoops. Huh. All right. After the letters page, which I did not read, there's a 2-page thing. So read the 2-page thing. Maybe it makes it all better or worse. I don't know. All right. Next, we have a whole shitload of number 1s. And I'm going from worst to best in my humble estimation. It is what it is. And this is not bad, but this is where I'm ranking it. This is the Vigil number 1. It's Ram V, who I love generally, with, hang on, Lalit Kumar Sharma on the art. And this is a solid setup. It's a team book, and it's a setup, and it's the first mission. It's everything you kind of want in the first mission. It's just a hard sort of sell to like put this all together. I do think the pacing is maybe a little off in this issue as far as interest goes, and as far as like the introduction of the characters. I think Robbie could have arranged that a little bit differently and made it a little more interesting. I get it's a hard task when you're introducing the entire team as a new thing and having them on the first mission and having the cliffhanger ending. It's just the issue with the issue. Maybe that's what I should just call this channel. Anyway, no, I'm not going. Anyways, is that you're expecting the reader to give a shit by the end of issue number 1. It's not necessarily the case, and you're expecting like this big sinister reveal at the end to also be big and sinister when there's been no setup for that to like really be the case. So it's not awful. I probably will at least continue with this one for a little while because the superheroes or the team, the protagonists, the anti-hero team, the Vigil, whatever, are interesting enough that I'll keep it up. It's just I think Rompi had the hardest task of any of the newer ones this week because like it's introducing all this shit, and so when you're doing that, like you have to really craft it very well in order to make it work. And while this is fine, I don't think it hits that very well type mark. I think that's potential. I think it's worth carrying on with, but I don't think it's amazeballs. So yeah, I said amazeballs, people. I'm old. That's the lingo I'm using nowadays. All right, next we have another ton of money one, which was $8. Batman Brave and Bold number 1. I almost didn't pick this up. I didn't even know. It wasn't on my radar at all. But I was like, well, okay. I flipped through it, and I at first thought it was one big story written by Tom King. I was like, well, shit. But then it's Mitch Gerads in the art, who I love. So I was like, all right, I'll get it. And then I started reading it, and then I'm like, oh, wait, no, this is an anthology book, which if it keeps up at this dollar rate, I'm definitely not buying it. It's not worth that to me. And yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories in here. Hang on. 4 stories? 4 stories in here. 4. Counting is hard. Reading's hard. But yeah, hang on. Is this thing still? Come on, you stupid son of a bitch. Sorry. Having issues with my laptop, so if there's a break in there, it went to sleep on me while recording because I'm a rookie. It's my first time doing this. Yeah. Your mileage may vary. The Tom King issue is not a complete story, and it's Joker-centric, but it does have this nice creepy atmosphere to it. And while the panels are kind of somewhat annoying, and it's got some Tom King verbosity, it does have some pretty cool Mitch Gerads art, and it does have the creepiest atmosphere, and probably my favorite artwork in the book. I would keep it up if it was just that. Then you have Stormwatch with Mr. Bones, and this is an Ed Brisson thing, which is also not awful. There's a new character introduced, maybe not new. I guess that other book I'm not following, and this is also like a team setup for a team you're not going to probably give a shit about. I think there's all characters that technically exist, but the same complaint I have with the Vigil. It's a hard sell given the nature of it all, because like you're asked to like give a shit, and then you're asked to like care about their mission, and then you're asked to want to keep reading. So it's not bad. Art is pretty solid. It reminds me kind of Elred on there, but it's who is it? Jeff Spoke's art on that one, and coloring, so not bad. And then there's a Superman Chris Cantwell story, which is just kind of lighthearted and sort of Silver Agey Superman. So not a ton to say about that one. It's fine, honestly. And then the last one is a Dan Mora black and white little short story. Also harmless and fine. I'm ranking it higher than the Vigil just because I really liked Mitch Gerads' art, and I really like the atmosphere of the setup in the Batman story in the front page. But it's also more money, so there you go. All right, and then we have got a couple more number 1s, people. This is the variant cover that I'm just fucking up by dropping right off that. Avengers number 1. This is what's his name? It's Jed McKay. And who's on the art? I can't remember. Remembering things is hard, people. And then they don't put it in the front pages, and so I'm flipping through this while I'm recording, and it gets all awkward. But you get Terminus. Spoilers, they're fighting Terminus. This is the cover artist. Oh, Cia Villa, whatever. Not familiar with their stuff. The inking gets a little heavy-handed on some pages here. We're like really kind of thick and chunky, and it's not consistent throughout. But when the art is going, art is pretty solid. And Jed McKay does a decent job with this team. It's Carol Danvers in charge and putting together the team. And so you learn the team. You have their first mission. First mission goes as first missions go, and then you get the setup at the surprise cliffhanger ending at the end. It's formulaic, but it works, and it's a solid first issue. It's enough where I probably actually will keep going on this one because it's a good jumping on point. You may not be the characters are all probably going to be pretty familiar with you. You may not be aware of what they've been up to. I don't know if anyone can keep up with all the shit Marvel's doing nowadays, but you'll have enough familiarity with all the characters, and Jed does a good job of introducing them, and a good job of putting them in an effective first issue story and setting up stuff at the end. So it's not groundbreaking, but it's solid and it's effective. Probably my cover of the week. I like the Negative Space one. It was a variant cover. I don't know who the hell did it. Show maybe? It doesn't matter. Don't care. I mean, I should care, but whatever. It's the Vision. Spoilers. Vision's on the team. All right, and then we have the first issue. It's the setup issue. There's a cliffhanger ending. The team gets assembled. There's a lot of similarities between these two. Like a lot. This is Titans number 1 and Avengers number 1. They both follow a lot of the same story beats. Like this one's framed a bit differently. It's Tom King and it's the Titans. And like it has a different framing device, the front and the back. And actually, obviously a little bit different plot and stuff. But you get the team getting formed. You get, it's Scott on the art, by the way. I can't remember. I'll see if I can figure out the first name for you. They don't put it on the first page again. Just to really, it's probably on me on the last. You know what? Oh, it's Nicholas Scott. Pretty solid art. And you get Nightwing running the team and putting together his team. And then you get the mission that sort of has to happen. You get the interference from the government. You get some other beats. You get some cool fight stuff. Not probably quite as big and dramatic as the Jed McKay's Avengers, but I like the touch of Tom King a little bit better, which sounds dirty, but I like his, he's a little more deft with the team stuff, and I really have been enjoying Tom King's DC stuff, and this is no exception. I like where he's headed with, or not Tom King, Tom Taylor, sorry. Fucking Toms. I like Tom Taylor's recent DC stuff, and I like where this one's headed, and I like the cliffhanger ending a little bit better. I mean, a lot better, actually, than the cliffhanger in that first one. They're both enjoyable. They're fairly neck and neck. Well, this one just wins out by a hair. So Titans number 1, good solid start. And then we have another number 1. We have Red Room Crypto Killaz number 1. This is Ed Piskor. This is his last run of Red Room, I believe, and this is sort of like wrapping it all up, kind of. And it's a self-contained issue, but you're not going to probably get as much out of it if you've got rid of his previous stuff. I recommend hunting down his previous thing. Red Room is this dark web for fun and profit where there's a lot of gross murders and people watch it and pay Bitcoin. And like these characters are all starting to tie together and wrap up for what's like looking to be a pretty effective thing. It's all like this off-white and then black with like a slightly exaggerated hand and then some duotone and then white for the text. Gross out book. There's gross out horror. This is actually not as horrific as some of the previous stuff, although there's stuff in here. The cover's pretty gross. But if you've been following Red Room and you're into this kind of stuff, which I'm not always, this is good. Looks like it's setting up to be a great final run of this. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I liked Red Room from the beginning. I'm a huge fan of the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel where you can watch Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg talk about comics. It's two artists that make comics talking about comics. What more could you want in a YouTube channel? And Ed does a solid job with the grid. It's a great job storytelling. And when he wants to break it all up, he does, but he still follows a pretty rigid structure. Some people might find that boring, but I really appreciate like the ability to have excitement within these confines. And like I do think it exists. And this is my favorite number 1 of the week. Not my favorite book of the week. We've got one left, and we're going to that now. Yeah, I segued because even though I'm a rookie and I suck at all this, I'm not a rookie, I've been doing this for way too damn long. Welcome back, Ice Cream Man. This is Ice Cream Man number 35, W. Maxwell Prince, and Martin Morazzo. If you've ever heard any review of Ice Cream Man, you can just skip to the end and say, yeah, okay, that's great. This is great. All of Ice Cream Man It's an anthology horror series. Each issue tells one story, ties into a little bit of the bigger universe, and does so in a creepy ass way. Morozzo's art is very kind of precise with delicate line work and grossed out. And this is a man writing a book of monsters, and one of the monsters like Shameful Memories, a monster, and Earworm, and there's I don't want to ruin them all, but there's text pages giving descriptions of the monster. So that's the sort of gimmick of this issue. Each issue kind of does its own thing, and W. Maxwell Prince is endlessly creative when it comes up to writing these singular tales. And then there's an ending that you can probably kind of predict at the end of it all, but the journey through this creepy ass issue makes it my book of the week. It's another one where I don't necessarily always love horror, but Maxwell Prince and Ed Piscor in different ways elevate horror to a different thing. And this is this elevated psychological horror / gross out / creepiness / it's hard to read this as a kid. I wouldn't sleep for weeks kind of thing. Not because it's a slasher gore thing, but just because it would wind its way into my brain and it wouldn't be able to shut it off. That never happens as a grown up. You just always shut off your day and then you're fine, right? Yeah, totally, no problem. But yeah, you can actually pick up Ice Cream Man any issue and you're probably good to go. Is this maybe not the best issue to do it? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think you actually could pick it up and start here and be fine. I've not read actually the first couple. They kind of got prohibitively expensive for a while. I probably can buy a collection, and I might at some point, and then I'll just catch up because I do want to own them all because I do think this is going to go down as one of the more important and one of the better series that kind of ever exist in indie comics, and I think they're doing something special with Ice Cream Man. So yeah, that's what we got. That's my list of shit. So yeah, CBC Awards, go vote for somebody, anybody. You got a bunch of time to vote. I think that voting's up through August. I don't know. Paying attention's hard. But I'm gonna get out of here. So don't be a dick. Look, I have shirts. TaylorWinter.com. Nothing if not a dirty whore. You can buy your Don't Be a Dick shirts there. See ya.